Drivers are one apiece. Max Verstappen leading courtesy of the fastest lap towards the end. But as we discussed, the start of this season couldn't be going any better, Christian, to state the obvious.
Look, the team, all credit to them, they've built an incredible car. And, what we saw today, the two drivers pushing each other, Max coming through from 15th on the grid. By half distance, he was already in P4. And Checo, I think personally that was probably his best ever race. Managing the pace, the restart, the pace that he had, and those guys were going absolutely flat out until we thought we had an issue with Max, and then we looked at all the data, checked the data, it was fine, and then again they're flat out, hard at it again.
So you're confirming that they were really pushing in the end there, because we were of course expecting Max to close that gap down. We've seen the whole weekend how fast he was, so that really confirms that Checo was driving awesomely.
Yeah, they were both pushing hard, and obviously Max, he got the fastest lap at the end there. But what a weekend for him. No fault of his own yesterday with the drive shaft. 15th, he was patient at the start. He picked the cars off and then progressed through the field. So a phenomenal recovery for him. What
was the story with the drive shaft today? He was complaining that there was high frequency vibrations.
We don't actually know it was a drive shaft. Of course, he got a noise in the car. He then reports that to us, and you immediately go to the thought of the failure that was yesterday. So he was getting a high-pitched noise at high speed. So we check all the data. We obviously do what we can and support it even back from Milton Keynes as well, looking at all the channels that we have, and we couldn't see anything, and something like that is either going to be catastrophic. So at that point it's like, guys, we can't see anything, free to go.
Chris, we got to thank you actually for letting them race, because at one point we thought that Max had got much more pace than Sergio. We were looking forward to perhaps Max going off into the distance if things had been normal. But that's not what happened, and Max got through after the safety car and he pushed Sergio, and everyone expected him to just close in on him. And then when Sergio came on the radio and said, what are we doing? Are we going to keep pushing,
Yeah.
And the answer came back, yeah, you're free to push. I don't think that was the answer he was expecting.
No, I don't think he wanted that answer. But, do you know what? We got a great car and two great drivers. We talked about it in the briefing, earlier today, that you're free to race. But you keep it clean, and both of them are so competitive. But I think really today, Checo, that was, I think, his best Grand Prix, particularly after the restart on the hard tyres. He immediately built a 5-second gap, and then he maintained that and managed that. And all credit to him and the team for getting maximum points.
What about in terms of challenges now? Let's try and find some for you guys. you're looking so strong. What about the wind tunnel time? Look, someone like Aston have 50% more wind tunnel time in the next couple of months, or even, Mercedes have a fair bit more as well. Is that something that might be a little bit concerned, or is there something else?
Well, of course, that's going to play out over the course of the year. And what was particularly satisfying for us is that we got off to a good start, because if we were having to manage a problem with that deficit, it would be a severe handicap. So, but we've got two drivers within a point of each other. One win apiece, and they're going to be pushing hard in the races to come for sure.
Can we analyse a couple of your competitors, or at least are you surprised that we didn't see more from the Ferraris this evening? Everyone was thinking they were going to be your nearest rivals, but it's not happened for them this weekend.
Well, the Ferrari pace never really materialised. We got a little lucky with the timing on the safety car, which enabled Max to jump both the Ferraris, and that worked out well for him. And but their pace in the race, wasn't really there. And I think what we saw today was the pace of our car at this circuit. And I said it's going to take 2 or 3 venues to get a really clear picture, and that was everything we had today.
That's everything you had, and it looked like, had it not been concertinaed, it would have been another big gap, maybe stretching towards a minute. Are there any circuits that you don't think that you're going to experience this kind of dominance? Just tell us what you think is going to happen at Albert Park. Are we going to see the same sort of thing?
Well, Albert Park's never been a lucky circuit for us. We've won there once, I think, back in 2011. So, we're going to go there and try and do the best we can, learn from, some of the issues this weekend. And of course, then I think after that race, when we get back to Europe, upgrades are going to start coming through, and that you're going to start to see teams again. I think this isn't something that's going to stay there all season. It will converge.
Do you think that Max was a little bit surprised by Sergio's pace in that race at all? Does he respect that Sergio's got the pace, or what's the mindset of Max?
Max is a racer. He's gonna push, and coming from 15th on the grid to second at a street circuit, that's pretty unusual. But I mean, Sergio stepped up to the challenge after that safety car, and obviously the heart was in my mouth at that point, because I'm envisaging within 3 laps we're going to have 2 drivers going at it hammer and tong, but it didn't materialize. Checo got the gap, was able to manage it, and his pace today was fantastic.
Let's finish by congratulating you again. It's an awesome car, there's no doubt about it, and it's down to the rest to try and catch Christian and Red Bull.